As you can see here, power racks don't take up a whole lot of room. What you're seeing in this picture is all in about an 8-foot by 8-foot corner of this room. And between the dumbbells and the lat attachment and the cage itself, there's probably well over 20 exercises that I could do with this equipment. A power rack would be the staple of anybody's gym. It really should be the centerpiece. The amount of exercises that you can do safely within its confines is unbelievable. Let's see, where do I start off with? I guess I'm going to talk about the construction here. This is a 2-inch frame. When you're looking at power racks, right behind the brand, the next most important thing would probably be the size of the frame. 2 inches is about as small as they get. But then again, what do you expect for a $300 rack? You know, they make other ones that would go to like 2.5 or even 3 inches for the collegiate level racks. And those racks would hold as much weight as any human could lift, but are going to cost well over $1,000. This rack's only a few hundred, and if you're going to be a home user, I think that this should be adequate for some time, perhaps forever. This rack, being from PowerLine, has a good reputation. PowerLine is a subsidiary of Body Solid, which makes some excellent equipment, and that was one of the reasons I actually purchased it. This rack, even though it has 2-inch construction, is actually rated for 600 pounds, which is more than I will probably ever be able to lift on it. And if I do reach a point where I need more, well, I will be happy to sell it and upgrade to a heavier duty model. If you have, say, $600 to spend, there are better models to get than this. But for a person who's just starting out and can afford the $300 or so new, well, it's a great bargain. If you can buy used, even better. I highly recommend buying fitness equipment used when you can. Fitness equipment is so expensive to begin with, and if you buy it used, you can get it for a fraction of its original cost, as well as having a better selection of quality equipment. So much of the equipment sold in stores nowadays is just such poor quality and such low weight limitations that you're really not going to get much out of it compared to what you might get buying used quality light industrial, gym type equipment, or well-built home user equipment like this piece, for example. Let me just go over some of the modifications that I've done here. First is I've put this foam padding over the bars. The reason I did that, as you can see, these bars will scratch in a heartbeat. Very poor quality paint. And I did not like having scratched bars. This rack is in a kind of a visible area. People walk past it coming in from my front door, and I didn't want it any more scruffier looking than it had to be. So this was a tip that I picked up from Amazon's reviews actually on this rack. A person had mentioned that you could put pipe foam, I believe it was, over these bars. These are 1-inch bars. And so I bought one piece. It was like $2 off of out of Home Depot and cut it up to the sizes that I need. And it's been working fairly good for that. I mean, it pops off real quickly when I want to move the bar around. It tears up pretty easily, though, so I wish it was a little more durable. Up here, what I do with the lift-offs, I've actually covered it with electrical tape, and I still don't think that's durable enough. I'll probably do it again with duct tape or something more sturdy. I want to show you the pins real quick for these lift-off. The safety pins, pretty simple. That's basically it. Little spring-loaded ball bearings inside the capsule. You can approach it from either end. They will not fall out. So if this gets turned upside down, you're still perfectly safe. It takes, maybe 5 pounds of pressure or something to pull it through. So I think you'd be safe with that. Let me show you one thing that I've done here. I made myself a little weight rack to put on this. Isn't that neat? It provides some place to hold my standard 1-inch size plates, right next to where I'm going to use them on the lat attachment, and it provides some weight on the rack. This is a lightweight rack. And a lot of people who had left negative comments in regard to it on some of the reviews I was reading and mentioned that it was wobbly when they would do chin-ups and stuff and pull-ups. Well, you know, it weighs like 150 pounds or maybe even less. So anything you can do to weigh it down, the better off you'd be. This is actually a dumbbell handle and collars. I got this from the gentleman that I bought these 1-inch plates for. I didn't trust it. As you can see here, the collar, is basically a screw that's screwed in to press against the bar. So it didn't seem very secure to me. I had a great selection of little 10-pound plates that I bought from the gentleman, as well as these 20 and 30 and 50 pounders. And so I bought a pair of Shrugs dumbbell handles, which are just awesome. I'll have to do a video on those someday. It's to put all my 10-pound plates on. And but it occurred to me, and I was looking at these old vintage dumbbell handles, that they just might fit through these 1-inch holes that this frame has. And indeed they did. And put the collar on, put the weights on, and it's pretty sturdy. I mean, I could put a collar here. That collar there came from here. But it doesn't need it, and actually doesn't even need it over there either. But the manual said that they highly recommend, yada, yada, yada. So I was just trying it out there. Honestly, I don't think it's needed. But this is kind of neat. I've done it on both sides. I got probably 100 pounds of weight hanging off of it. And, adds a little stability to the rack. And the plates are right there when I want to add them onto the pull down. Let's see. Pull down. Awesome attachment for this rack. I highly recommend it. Very high quality. It has the high pull down, for the wide grip pull downs. And down at the bottom has the low pull down. You can see it came with the little basic straight bar handle. Nothing much really to write about there. But you can put any kind of attachments you want on these. These are standard carabiners. And some people have mentioned replacing with, thicker, higher quality ones, but it hasn't broken yet for me. I worked out today with 140 pounds on this, and I had no problems with it at all. However, I will mention one little thing. I found that when you start doing heavy weights, like 140 pounds, your body will start slipping around, because unlike a gym, there are no pads to put over your legs. So I kind of made this little support here with an easy bar. I'll show you what I did. Basically that. Have a cheapo easy bar lying around. The bends in it actually conform pretty well to your legs. And then I just jammed it up underneath one of the safety bars on each side. And then you just put your feet, your toes on the bench legs, and then just kind of lift up to put some pressure against this. And it really helps lock your lower body into shape as you're doing the lat pull downs. Because at 140 pounds, I was starting to slide around a bit. At 100 pounds, I did not. But with at a certain weight level, depending on your own body weight, of course, you're going to kind of want some support over your legs. It makes it so much easier. Well, let me tell you this real quick. This is like an extra lift off that I made. And I have one on each so far. I just made this one pair. But basically, it's a bolt. 3/4 inch bolt. 5 inches long, I believe. And then if I had to do it again, I'd probably put an extra spacer over here with an extra bolt up against it, just to make it a little higher that the bar would have to hop over. Although I've tested, it does not seem to want to go over this lip even as it is. And unfortunately now I've kind of messed up the threads a bit, so I can't try that project. I'll have to buy some more bolts. But they were pretty cheap, $4 or $5 for each one. So $10 for an extra pair of liftoffs seemed pretty decent, because these liftoffs I could not seem to find anywhere on PowerLine's website where I could buy extra ones. And it's always handy to have extra lift-offs. So that was kind of a neat attachment. I was pretty proud of myself. I saw that in a video, one of Rippletoe's starting strength videos. I noticed on his gym, on his racks, that they had a lot of lift-offs that they'd made with big bolts. And I thought, hey, these are 1-inch holes. Surely I can find a big bolt that would fit through that. And so I gave that a shot. It's worked out really well. Let's see here. What else would you need to know about this? If there was one thing that I wish was changed on it, I wish it had better paint. I mean, I'm just disgusted on how quickly the paint chips off. If the bar basically brushes against it, the paint's going off. And kind of peeves me. But, you know, it's, you know, a couple $100. It did actually come with a little bottle of paint that you could fix it up with. You know, and I'm just not sure if I'll have this for the rest of my life. I mean, I'm sure it would last the rest of my life, but I might outgrow it or find a better deal or something. And so I might sell it down the road, and I'm gonna, you know, like it a little, you know, as little scratched as possible. I want to show you on the lat attachment here. A good thing to know when dealing with this type of equipment is silicone spray. Ace Hardware, $6. I learned this little tip on bodybuilding.com's equipment forums, and it's incredible stuff. It really is. I gave it a good coating on the track bar here before I really even used it for the first time, and it is so smooth now. It's as good as any commercial gym cable equipment I've ever used. You know, even with 140 pounds on it there, it was smooth, quiet, no wobbling, no shaking. Couldn't ask for anything better. Very, very pleased. And you know, the handles are pretty cheap. Nothing to write home about that. But you can always replace them. One of my favorite attachments, actually, is a little A-frame attachment that I got from the gentleman that I bought my 1-inch weights from. It's totally awesome. You can use it for triceps, you know, biceps, whatever. It's called an A-grip. And, you know, it connects just fine to the carabiner. So you can use any kind of attachment you want. And rope pull downs, perhaps, or double D handles. You know, all kinds of stuff could actually work quite well with this setup, because those are very basic bars. There are no swivels. Not such a big deal for that bar, but for the little short one, it would sure be nice if the attachment point was on a swivel. Help your wrist a little bit. But you know, for the price that these go for, I think it was a good value. I actually managed to buy this off Craigslist used for $200 from a gentleman who had just paid $300 for it at Sam's Club a few months prior. So it was, you know, basically new, and I had almost bought it off of Amazon's website. And so I was kind of tickled when I saw it show up on Craigslist for $150 less. The lat attachment part I did buy from Amazon, and that was $200 with free shipping. The lat attachment is rated for 300 pounds, which I think is more than adequate of what most people would, you know, ever use it for. If you need more than that, well, you know, you got time to upgrade. But overall, I'm very pleased with this rack. I really am. I think it was a good value, good price. I wish I could have bought more of it used, but Craigslist is pretty crappy in my area. It's a small town. So, you know, I've bought what I could used, and then the rest new. That's, by the way, a Iron Master Super Bench. Highly recommend it. I had read wonderful things about it, and when I purchased it, I was not disappointed. It's a little pricey. I mean, I think it was $260 for the basic bench, but it's rated for 1,000 pounds. Very high quality. I'd certainly recommend it. And you know, that's about it. That's be my little rack. It connects with bolts. They're actually disassembled. This is pretty easy to transport. I put it in my car. I actually just fold the seats down and disassembled. It fit in the car very easily. So anyway, that's a review. If anyone's looking into buying this rack, I think I've kind of gone over the pros and cons of it. And I mean, it's rated for 600 pounds, so it should last you for some time. And you can also, upgrade in the future if that requires. But for the price that it goes for new, I think it's a great value. And I would definitely recommend it. I'll talk to you later.